Welcome to the second official dev blog for the Star Wars Battlefront 2 Assassination game mode mod that I'm working on. I've covered a lot of ground in the last few days, in the last week especially, since the last dev blog that I put out. As you can see, I've added one new class since last time, the Assassin Tracker. This class focuses mainly on deception and evasion. One thing that you'll notice I've tweaked is the AI goal weights. So as soon as I get into trouble with the law, the AI will immediately start tracking me and try to find out where I am. They did this before the change as well, but to a lesser extent, so I've now added a lot more aggressive AI that will make it more of a challenge for players to be able to escape the guards and become anonymous again. You may notice in the background that I've added some new music and enhanced the switching algorithm. So now the music will switch almost instantaneously when the player becomes detected, and as soon as the player becomes anonymous again, it'll switch back to the ambient soundtrack. This is really good for creating a more dynamic environment and creating a lot more excitement for the player when he or she is being chased. I've also added what's called panic mode. This is a state in which the targets will try and evade the player after the player has attacked them. By default, they will try to run to a single point on the map, which is randomly chosen by the game. However, if they are attacked by the player, or if the player is too close to them while they're in panic mode, then they will randomize their destination. So essentially the game engine will roll a dice, and as long as the roll is different from the last roll, then that new outcome or that new roll will become the destination for the target. As I switch to the Tracker Assassin class, you'll notice that he has a remote droid. And this posed an interesting challenge when I was coding, because I wanted the player to be able to use the remote droid to attack the target and not be immediately given away so the enemies would know the player's exact location. So I used the Lua callback get character remote in order to create the hot zone around the remote droid rather than around the player controlling the remote droid. This allows the Tracker class to be able to use the remote droid from a distance and remain safely far away from the action. Part of what I had to do in order to make this work is create a registry for remote droid weapons. So other users who create maps or content including this game mode will need to just register any weapons that their remote droid or controllable turrets will be using. And this will be registered in a table in the script post load function of each individual map. It sounds like a lot of work, but it really only takes a couple of seconds and makes everything work a lot better. I've also changed the way that difficult guards spawn, so now they will spawn at random locations rather than all at one point off to the side of the map. Each user who uses the game mode script in their own map can determine where that random location will be. Similar to the registry for remote weapons, there will be a list or a table that will need to have these path points specified. I've also increased the line of sight for guards, so that it's more difficult to evade them. This goes hand in hand with what I talked about earlier, where the guards will try more actively to seek out the player's location, rather than congregate right at the center of the hot zone. They will still be attracted to the center of the hot zone. The player is going to have a much more difficult time getting away from the guards. So this may still need some balancing, and I'll wait to get some feedback from my testers about this. But for now, I think it's a pretty good start. All in all, I think the game is a lot more fun to play now. I've definitely sunk more than a few hours into it, not just for testing, but also for fun. I hope to begin work on a demo map, which will look a lot nicer than this current map, sometime next week. If you have any questions, feel free to comment, or visit the work in progress thread at the GameToast.com forums. I also have a project website up, and I'll link that in the description as well. Thanks for watching.